Are you vegan?
What do you think of this first? You answer me first. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I don't think that's right.
Okay. So, somebody's kicking a dog.
No.
Bad. Fox hunting, bullfighting.
No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah. What about taking an animal into a slaughterhouse? What about taking an animal into a slaughterhouse, shoot them in the head, hang them upside down, cut their throat, turn them into a burger, when you can eat a plant-based option instead?
That's just not nice, so is it?
What's that? What did you say there?
It's not nice. Plant-based stuff.
Plant-based not now?
Before, it's horrible.
So you agree with the sign then?
It's horrible. I mean, I don't know. I think you're.
I think the way they kill them in like a slaughterhouse is a lot more humane than like abusing them.
Have you ever been to a slaughterhouse? I have. I've been to all of them, and it's absolutely brutal. How do you humanely?
What do you think about, like, you know, like?
I'm not trying to catch you out, by the way. This is reverse psychology. I used to think it was okay too, and then I've seen things now that I know that it's not okay. So, once I'll let you ask your question. You're talking about humane slaughter. What does the word humane mean? It means benevolence. It means to care for or look after somebody. Slaughter means to kill somebody in a violent fashion. There's nothing humane about shooting somebody in the head and cutting their throat. Nothing humane about it. What was your question?
So, do you like not agree with this? Like halal food? Do you think that's just like,
equally bad?
Yeah.
It's in both, and the animals are terrified in both. The only difference with halal is what we do with cows. What we do, not halal, is we shoot them in the head with a captive bolt. So it's a bolt on a spring that goes into their brain. Loads of times the lines are moving so fast they miss the brain. So it's just to stun them, it's not to kill them, it's to get them off their feet so as they can immobilise them, get a shackle around their leg, turn them upside down.
Do you not think that if we weren't meant to eat them that we wouldn't? I mean, you get your protein, you get a lot of nutrients, you need that from meat. Are you going to go and tell a lion not to kill, like, something, you know what I mean?
Right, there's three things to cover there. Could you kill an animal yourself?
If I had to, yeah.
If you had to, you don't have to. You don't have to, but it's not for survival.
So, like,
do you think you would?
Humans could survive totally off plant-based foods?
Yeah, because I've been eating plant-based since I was 19 years old. I'm 55. I'm 55 in 2 or 3 months there. So you can survive and thrive, and the science says a plant-based diet is suitable for all stages of human life, from infancy right up to old age. So you can survive and thrive on a plant-based diet. So that takes away there is no necessity. The second thing is lions are different than us. Number one, they're carnivores. So they must. No, we're not. Wait, the science says we're either omnivores or herbivores, depending on the science you look at. So yes, we can eat meat and assimilate it, but it's bad for you. Saturated fat, cholesterol, all sorts of rubbish in it that's bad for your heart. Gives you cancer, all kinds of things. But a lion is an obligate carnivore. If a lion does not eat another animal, it's going to die. So it's literally for survival. And number two, they're not moral agents and we are. So a lion doesn't look at another animal and go, I'm going to cause pain and suffering to that animal if I eat it. It doesn't have moral agency. You are a moral agent, so you can look at a situation and say, is this right or wrong? If I can eat something else, is it right to make an animal suffer when I don't need to?
I couldn't eat it. I couldn't survive off it. It's disgusting.
But what have you tried?
It tastes horrible.
What have you tried?
It tastes, you know, that corn stuff. It's like plant.
I don't eat. Corn's not even vegan. Most of it's vegetarian.
What do vegans eat?
I think it's like plant-based.
Light whole foods plant-based. So if I'm making curries well, first of all, you can go in the supermarket and buy everything, a vegan version of everything. Vegan ice cream, burritos, pizza, lasagna, spaghetti, whatever. You get vegan everything nowadays.
Does it taste the same?
Some things taste exactly the same. Some things taste a little bit different.
Right.
But that doesn't mean to say they're necessarily worse. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of finding the things you like, because you don't like all meat products. Do you like liver, for example? Most people, some meat products you like, some you don't.
I've never tried it.
What?
I've never tried liver, to be honest.
Yeah, well, most people don't like all meat products, so you will find vegan food that you like 100%. Because I thought the same. Most vegans will tell you the same thing. What am I going to eat?
Yeah.
You will find the supermarkets are full of vegan food now. It is not disgusting. When I was young, you used to get this dry soy mint stuff.
Yeah.
And it literally was disgusting. It was horrible. But nowadays you can eat everything. So you can either use the alternatives, or when you can go into McDonald's and buy a McPlant, People tell me it tastes. I haven't tasted a McDonald's burger in years, but people tell me it tastes exactly the same. KFC do vegan chicken nuggets that everybody tells me are better than the normal chicken nuggets, the same price. Everywhere's doing vegan food now. They're selling it to somebody. Okay, it's okay, I get it. If you've tried a few things that you didn't like, but you will find things that you like.
If you didn't go into a slaughterhouse, then you would.
I still think it's wrong.
Would you still be eating meat then if you didn't see it?
No, I don't think so. Because I see it as an injustice to take somebody's life away from them when you don't need to. That all they have is their life, and we're taking it away from them, and that's wrong. If somebody just arbitrarily decides, I'm going to shoot you in the head, steal your kids away from you, or take you away from your family and take you somewhere and shoot you in the head when I don't need to, I see that as very wrong.
I could see if you're saying you're taking our life away. Like, we wouldn't have their life if we weren't like vegan.
That's true, but they're bred into existence and they live a very short life. Like chickens live, the ones we eat, the Cornish cross, they live 48 days. They're fully grown. That's how genetically modified they are now. They'll grow to fully grown in 48 days. They live in absolutely terrible conditions in a barn with like up to 30,000 other chickens. They're not free range, they're living in one big cage. The conditions are terrible. They get 48 days and then they go to a slaughterhouse. Pigs live to 6 months old in the worst conditions you can ever imagine. I've been on the farms and seen it. It's absolutely terrible, the conditions that pigs have to endure.
Even they say that Northern Ireland's the safest meat, it's the most traceable. Is that true then? No?
Red Tractor approved. I could show you a farm on my phone that we filmed last year. I live in Ballymena, so it's just outside. And we went on to the farm at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd been scouted out in advance, a pig farm. I've never seen anything like it. Absolutely shocking. Dead pigs lying everywhere. The other pigs are living in pens of just concrete, just lying in their own piss and shit. And darkness, the smell of that place. I've never seen it like it. They closed it down for 2 weeks after we went there and then reopened it again, and it's now back with a Red Tractor approval again. Now Red Tractor approval is the highest standard. It's like a 5-star hotel for animals apparently. I have never seen anything so bad in all my life. That was dogs. People would be up in arms about it.
Yeah.
Really, really bad. I could show you the pictures on my phone now if you want to see them. You want to see them?
Yeah.
One wee sec. So I'll show you some of the pictures. These are the dead and rotten pigs as we were going in.
Actually.
Dead, rotten. Rotten pigs. So the wee piglets, if they're sick, they do a thing called thumping. It's RSPCA approved, so they don't get a vet to come and euthanize them because a vet costs money. They lift them with the back legs and just smash them off the concrete floor. That was the doorway on the way in. Dead pigs again, been lumped over the head because they're probably sick or whatever. They're standing in their own feces there.
That's horrible.
That's Red Tractor approved. That's as good as you get.
How can they approve that? But
because the Red Tractor is farmers working for farmers.
Oh right.
So they live in crates. I mean, you can see all the shit and gunk. And we had to wear masks. The smell in that place would have knocked you out. And pigs are really clean animals. Don't let people tell you they're not. Pigs love to be clean, and they're really smart and intelligent. And people are treating them like that. They live like that for 6 months.
No, I don't like that.
They can't even. They can't even sleep properly because there's like 20 other pigs or 24 in a pen about 12 foot square, covered in shit. There's pigs crawling over the top of them all the time. They're tormented for 6 months. Never see the daylight, never see the sunshine. The only time they ever see the sunshine is the day a truck turns up and takes them to a slaughterhouse. And do you know what we do with them when we get them there? Gas chamber.
Yeah. What?
Gas chamber.
I thought, it's probably not because it sounds bad, I thought they just let their throats slit.
No, so they want to stun them before their pigs are big strong animals.
Yeah.
They grow huge, so they grow huge really fast, so 6 months. When they arrive, they stand on a line and they're loaded into, it's like a small Ferris wheel with cages in it, and they put 3 or 4 pigs in at a time, and they're dropped down into a CO2 gas chamber, so it's not just gas, it's carbon dioxide, so it's like suffocating. You should hear the screams of those animals. I've been there and watched it. We used to do vigils and stuff, but they stopped us with COVID because there's so many outbreaks at slaughterhouses.
I think I'd have to go and see it. I think I'd have to go.
If you've seen it,
I would have to go and see what has actually happened to it.
If you, well, I'm not standing here telling you any lies. What happens to pigs? What happens to all animals is terrible. Pigs are really intelligent. Cows and chickens and sheep, when they turn up at a slaughterhouse, are aware that something's up and something's wrong. See, when pigs go to a slaughterhouse, they're terrified. Terrified beyond terrified. Like, I stood and cried for 20 minutes the last day I was there. Because you see the ones that are ready to go into the gas chambers, they hear the ones in front screaming, and I mean screaming. I've seen them pull their legs off and everything trying to get out. I mean, if somebody put you, it was suffocating you, you would fight with your whole might to try and... So they suffocate them until they pass out. It takes about a minute and a half. They roll out the bottom. Now, when they come out the bottom, they're already coming conscious again. They put a shackle around their back leg, they hang them upside down, and then they cut their throat. Pigs have to bleed out, so their heart has to be beating, so they have to be alive, and they choke in their own blood.
I didn't know all that happened.
I have never, I swear to God, if you could see what happens to those animals, and I'm not being funny, because everybody, we're fed that humane life from you're a kid, that something humane happens in a slaughterhouse.
Yeah, I thought that
There's nothing, and we're told that is the most humane method.
Yeah.
Nothing humane about that.
It's definitely.
I mean, you would never do that to an animal yourself.
No.
So that's what I'm trying to get across to people. When you buy the products, you're paying for that. And that seems harsh and that seems judgmental. And I genuinely try not to judge people because I paid for it too. I just didn't know. So I probably told you something today that you didn't know before. So hopefully that'll make you think a wee bit. And the dairy industry too. There's another one I want to tell you before you go. The dairy industry, do you know how cruel that is?
Dairy, no.
Dairy is the most cruel industry on earth. It's absolutely abysmal. Farmers, so you think cows just produce milk probably like I did?
I know they do stuff to force it out of them.
Because they make them think they're pregnant, don't they?
They make them pregnant. They're mammals like you, so the only time you produce milk is when you're pregnant or giving birth. So they artificially inseminate them in a thing they call a rape rack.
They call it a
They call it a rape rack. So they put them in and it jams their head so they can't move at the front. And then they put a syringe with semen inside them and their fist in their ass to manipulate their cervix so they get pregnant. Pregnant 9 months. And cows are really maternal.
Yeah.
Really, really maternal animals. So the minute the babies are born, they take them away. If it's a female, back into the industry, she'll live about 5 or 6 years.
Over and over again?
Over again. 5 or 6 times, 5 or 6 cycles of pregnancy, being milked every day. And as soon as her milk production drops at about 5 to 6 years old, off the slaughterhouse. Cows live to 30 years old. The baby boys do not produce any milk.
They just get slaughtered.
So in the UK last year, between 100 and there's no actual figures because up until they're 24 hours old, they have no rights whatsoever. So the farmers will either shoot them in the head, or some of them will put them in the ground and knock them over the head with a spade or a shovel. It's called blunt force trauma. It's completely RSPCA approved. So they put a wee baby cow in.
These are all approved by RSPCA?
Yeah, the RSP is the worst society on earth. They literally allow people to do the animals. It's a joke.
They send quite a lot of them away to Africa as well.
What's that? Yeah, they send them to, so there's 2 other markets for baby boy calves now because the farmers have realised it used to be traditionally baby boy Friesians and Jersey cows and Holsteins, the ones that produce milk, they're different than the beef cows. There was no market for them, but they've discovered now they can sell some to Belgium and the Netherlands. They send them over there in boats and they stand in field pens for 16 to 18 weeks with a chain around their neck in complete darkness so they don't produce any red blood cells. 16 weeks old, they get pulled out of the pen, somebody slits their throat and they get sold in a fancy restaurant for veal. I'm sure you've heard of that.
Is that what that is?
Yes. And they're exploiting the North African market now, so Libya, Algeria. So they send the wee baby milk calves over there, the wee boys, and they let them grow a little bit and then they go into a slaughterhouse over there. And I mean, what we do here is absolutely terrible, but those guys over there, there's no... I've literally seen videos of guys just coming up behind cows with like big machetes and just... wee calves a few weeks.
Girl calves, are they just forced into...
It's a life of servitude for them.
Do they at least let them grow like old enough?
No, that's what I said.
Impregnated, or do they go straight away?
About 4 or 5 cycles of pregnancy. So as soon as they give birth, they'll give them a couple of weeks and then they'll make them pregnant again. So it's like pregnant, give birth, have your child taken away, and then after about 5 cycles of that, it takes a heavy toll. I don't know if you've ever seen the calves crossing roads or something. They're moving fields and they're all lame. They get mastitis in their breasts. They get lame. Their bodies deplete because you're taking calcium from them the whole time. So the bones grow real, and they just end up absolutely a shell of themselves. And their milk production drops way down. 5 to 6 years old maximum. and they're taken to a slaughterhouse. So they suffer all that misery of having their children taken away from them. And I've heard them cry for days for their children. People think animals don't care about the children and they can't look after them stuff. Cows are super maternal. So they will cry for days and days and days, and they'll go to the spot where they seen their baby last and stuff and cry out for them. They'll never see them again, because if they're boys for a start, they're already dead. You know, it's really sad. And people think maternal instinct's only for human beings.
No.
You imagine you giving birth and somebody coming and taking your child away the minute it's born. I just think that's terrible. That stinks.
I knew that this stuff kind of went on, but
Yeah.
you're told like that Northern Ireland's the safest meat and all. That's
Every country you go to will tell you we have the highest standards.
No, because you say that in Scotland.
Yeah, they'll say it in Scotland, say it in England, they say it in Spain, they say it in Italy, they say it in France, or Australia, America. Our standards are higher than anywhere, and they're all doing the same thing here. But the controls mean nothing.
yeah.
When you see how terrified the animals are in slaughter lines, how terrified they are when they go to a slaughterhouse, and what happens to them. I mean, we baby lambs, Jesus, do you know lamb, 16 weeks old. That's what is a killed at. So those wee lambs you see springing around the fields, sometimes they're female and they'll keep some of them to keep the flock going to make them pregnant and produce more. But most of them go to the slaughterhouse around 4 months old. No anaesthetic, no nothing. Hung upside down with the back legs, somebody will cut their throat. Really, really bad. Terrifying for them. Terrifying. And you think, like, somebody coming at you with a knife's one of the most terrifying things you could ever imagine. Animals are terrifying. So that's why I'm here. I think most good people, like, obviously
I
you're
could tell by
good
your
people.
saying,
Yeah. Most people, some people think I'm here hating on animals or something. I would never hurt an animal, and neither would you.
I knew by the sign that you were vegan.
I just want to tell people information. What you do with that information is completely up to you. But
Definitely try more plant-based stuff.
yeah, try. I think what you're saying is a myth that vegan food's wrong, because there is vegan food that's not good.
Do you get the same level of nutrients as a meat? Because see, like vegetarians and vegans, a lot of them have like deficiencies because they're not getting enough.
They don't. There are people who use a plant-based diet as a way of controlling their dietary intake. I've seen that for sure. I'm not going to dispute that. Very few. If you eat enough food and you eat enough of the right foods, I don't take any supplements. I feel as healthy as anyone. I'm 55, for God's sake. I mean, I'm not singing my own praises, but I feel great for 55 years old. And the industry are selling you myths about protein and, like, if I said to you, what do you drink dairy milk for? What's it for?
Calcium.
Calcium. You get calcium calcium's a mineral that comes from the ground, and the reason cows aren't magic wells of calcium, they get it because they eat grass off the ground.
Yeah.
So if you eat coloured greens, you will get enough, like broccoli and cabbage and stuff like that. You will get enough calcium from greens automatically. You don't have to filter it through a cow. And the protein thing, complete and utter myth. The industry wants to tell you, yes, you can get protein from animal products, 100%, but if you eat enough food, you will get enough protein. Strongest man in the world 2 years ago was a vegan, Patrick Bavumi. Mr. Universe has been vegan. There's loads of NFL players, like American football guys, and those are the fittest guys in the world.
A couple of UFC fighters as well.
Nate Diaz, for example, vegan. David Hay, the boxer, vegan. These are top level athletes. Lewis Hamilton is vegan.
A lot more people are becoming vegan now.
Well, the reason is because more and more people are finding out what I'm telling you and thinking, shit, I'm not real. I can tell. I know you were saying about the food and stuff, and I get it, because the perception is vegan food isn't good. But I also can sense in you that you're not comfortable with what happens to animals in slaughterhouses, and nobody is really, unless you're a fucking psychopath. Who's going to think that's okay? Who thinks it's okay to make an animal suffer like that when they have done nothing on it? You wouldn't do that to your worst enemy. And we're doing that to animals. I see them like children. They're completely innocent.
So I thought it was alright, because I thought they were just like painless death, that was it.
It's I mean, I've seen it. The pigs are terrified. Jesus, honest to God, the last day I was there, I cried for 20 minutes behind the wall listening. Even now, it's absolutely shocking. It's so bad. The cows suffer terribly because the guys they're moving so fast in the line when they shoot that bolt. It's supposed to go into their brain. The cow's moving, so it misses the brain a lot of the time. So it'll still knock them off their feet. It's like a boxer punching you. It's when they go into the slaughter line, they're completely conscious. I've seen conscious cows They hang them upside down to cut their throat, still conscious. Cut their legs off. These knives are super sharp. They're like laser knives or something. What the hell are they? Just cut the 3 legs off.
While they're still alive?
While they're still alive. So they're hanging with 1 leg, with 3 legs cut off, their throats cut, and I've seen them put a knife in at their tail and pull it right down their spine and pull their skin off. And I've seen cows still conscious when that's happening. It is fucking up to 40% of the cows that go into a slaughter line are conscious. It's awful. And even worse than that, loads of them are pregnant as well. Absolutely terrible. So they cut their stomach open and a wee baby cow falls out. And I just don't want any part of that. I just think it's fun. When you think about it though, like, yeah, I know. So the industry stink and they sell you Happy Meals. It's not happy for the animals. And the humane myth, which is the biggest oxymoron in the English language. You can't humanely kill somebody unless it's euthanasia, which is a completely different thing. You're putting somebody out of their misery. And we do that to animals too. These animals, it's just not the same, you know, it's just making an animal suffer unnecessarily. I'm going to give you a card. Are you partners? I'll give you 1 card then, because I'm short on them.
My cousin, she's vegan now.
Yeah.
She wasn't up until pretty similar to you. She wasn't when she was younger, and then she
we're all taught.
discovered what actually went on.
Yeah.
And now she's like.
We're all taught it's normal and it's necessary is the main one. And if you find out it's not necessary, that's what the killer was for me. If it's not necessary, then it's for pleasure. I was going to show you on that card before you put it away. See the top one here? The best speech you'll ever hear?
Yeah.
Free to watch on YouTube. It's a guy called Gary Ruski, Jewish guy doing a tour of universities in America.
Yeah.
Somebody just filmed it on the phone about 10 years ago. 20 odd million views. One of the most powerful things I've ever seen in my life. Literally the best thing I speech on YouTube, I was like, this will be crap. And it just changed me overnight. Because that would be me. That's like me trying to promote stuff. And somebody might taste oat milk and not like it. So what I say to people is, there's numerous different plant-based milks. Try one, you'll find one you like. And even if it tastes a little different, well, what do you value more? Like a 10% taste difference or a wee baby calf being set on the ground and shot in the head? Like, it's not even a question for me. That it's so obvious what one is the right decision to make. And try, like, I'm going to suggest, try, if you're in the Tesco's, try Linda McCartney sausages. They're like £2 and there's like 6 or 8 in a packet. They're better than normal sausages. I guarantee you think they're better than normal sausages. So you don't just try one thing and think, oh shit, I've tried tofu and I don't like it, or I've tried corn and I don't like it. Try a few things and you will, I guarantee you'll find something that you like.
I got the black one, yeah.
What's that?
Quite sad now hearing that about the animals.
Well, you know what? That is the right way to feel. Because if you're blasé about it and didn't give a shit, I wonder about people like that, because why? It's not even a laughing matter, and you should care about animals. Everybody does, really. It's just the whole lifetime you've been taught one thing. But to me, there's a kinder way.
Yeah. Oh, you definitely. You're the first vegan who's actually had an impact.
Thank you.
So yeah.
That's all I'm here for, to try and... I'm not here to judge people, I paid for it myself. I was taught that it was okay. And then I found out different. So why would I judge? I would judge people differently if I told them and they went, I don't give a fuck about animals. Well, I do, and that annoys me that people don't care about harm. I don't judge you at all, because I'm probably telling you information today that you've never, you know, and you can go away and think about it and watch that speech. Please watch it. Promise me you'll watch that speech. It's 40 minutes long. I swear to God, it's the most powerful thing you'll ever watch in your life. What's your names?
Bethany.
I'm Cliff. Bethany. Do you want me to give you a hug or handshake? Give you a hug. Thanks for stopping. I really appreciate it. What's your name, man?
I'm Kyle.
I really appreciate it. Cheers. Thank you. Watch that speech.
We'll definitely go.